So Stefano, our paths have crossed for years and years now. So I know you very well as being extremely well known in the yachting industry, highly respected, but not everybody listening and watching the podcast will know who you are. So can we start by just going back to how you got into the yachting industry and where your career led you in the early days?
Yeah, also because that's when we first met. Do you remember when it was?
I don't remember exactly, but it was certainly when before you were even the CCO of Ferretti Group.
Well, a lot before that.
Yeah.
You don't remember, but I'll tell the audience so that they have it. You can cut this if you want later on, but do you remember where you got in contact with the yachting industry in Italy?
Yeah, with Norberto Ferretti. I was his English teacher.
And then what did you do?
And then after that, I was
translating or writing?
First translating and then writing the instruction manuals on the yachts.
And I was a stagiaire or internship in the summer of 98 and 99.
Oh, wow.
In Ferretti. I think it was still Ferretti Craft at the time.
That's right. Yeah.
And they said, oh, you're studying naval architecture and ocean engineering. Why don't you check if the translations we're getting are correct? The English is for sure fantastic, but can you check? And I had to check onto your translations. So if you were using the technical terms correctly.
Fantastic.
And
so
I did correct your English.
I'm sure you did.
No, I didn't.
So you were in the engineering department with Andrea Ferretti,
yes,
I guess.
He was my mentor. That's the first and last time that I got a kick from my family where we knew, so I'm proud to say it. I got in thanks to connections, because as always in Italy and in many places you need a connection. But I was studying naval architecture in UCL in London, and for the summer I had found a job as a waiter, and my parents told me, okay, you know what? If you find a job that also doesn't pay you, we'll give you the same amount of money, but at least you do something for your career. And through links and connections, we got in touch with Andrea that was forced to take me in. And I think him and all of the team at the technical engineering department, as they used to call it in Forlì, and the engineering department, they took me on board as a young stagiaire, and I spent 8 weeks there. And it was an amazing experience. I think it's where I clicked, in UCL, and then we were doing mostly ships and so on. The only thing fiberglass was minesweepers. The smallest thing was probably 60 meters and above, and that's where I clicked. I was a sailing instructor at the time, but I thought, I like power boats also. If I've always seen them as a sailing boat guy, as the demon. Yeah. And they were so much fun, so much investment going in, so many things. So that's where I started. And when I finished university, Andrea Ferretti told me, come and join us. By then they had bought, as Ferretti Group, Riva, and they sent me to the technical department as their man, which was interesting and very good fun. And from there, my career just took off.
But at a certain point, you went from being in the technical department to the commercial departments, becoming eventually the chief commercial officer, not just for Riva, not just for Ferretti, but for the entire group, for all the Ferretti Group. How did that happen?
Well, there were a few steps in between.
I bet they were.
We went from the technical departments. I did after sales, and then I started doing the Far East area manager for Riva. And then after that, in 2006, when the second leverage buyout went through, I wasn't a finance boy at the time, but I knew exactly what was going to happen. And so Benetti was headhunting me from a few years, and I decided to join Benetti in the sales office, with a promise that I would have become very quickly this VP for sales and marketing of Benetti. And that's where I actually took my my first directorship role in the commercial department, sales department, and marketing department until 2011. So I stayed there from 2007 to the end of 2011. Then I went to Hong Kong, did an MBA, and I had decided to leave the yachting industry, but it's, you know it better than me, it's like you actually got poisoned later on in life, right? Yes. But it's impossible to get out of it. So I ended up being recruited. I was doing consulting, and at the time Mr. Galassi was had just joined as an independent the board of Ferretti Group that was meeting in Hong Kong, and I had sold a couple of boats to him and his family, And so he gave me a call, and from there he asked me to devise a strategy for the Ferretti Group. So in 2014, when Mr. Galassi got appointed, in May, he asked me to join him and to deploy the strategy that I had devised for him. And I got appointed Chief Commercial Officer of Ferretti Group.
And for the benefit of those that listen, Mr. Galassi went on to become the CEO for many, many years until quite recently.
Yeah, for 12 years, and I stayed with him 11 years. I left at the end of 24, and he stayed until a couple of months ago. In May 26, we are already. So yes, so it was a long run. We took a company that was technically bankrupt for a third time in 5 years. And we took it from 250 million euros of revenues all the way to 1.2 billion euros. So, and making a lot of money. So it was great fun. In the middle, we had wars, we had COVID. So it was an interesting ride.
So that's an amazing story of your formation, if you like, in yachting across multiple countries, multiple disciplines, two of the biggest yacht builders in the world. And no doubt we could do a podcast all about that, because I think a lot of people would find, especially young people getting into yachting, would find that quite inspirational and informative. There's a lot of useful information, but it's not the purpose of this podcast.
Luckily, otherwise we would bore people to death.
Because after 11 years at Ferretti Group, you took quite a turn. And most of our contact has been through LinkedIn, hasn't it? We don't meet each other that often, but we kind of see what each other are doing on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
I said, Stefano De Vivo has left his position as Chief Commercial Officer of Ferretti Group to work for a company that does refits. What's all that about? So tell me what the basis was of that decision, who the company are that you're working with now, and why you did that.
So when I decided to leave Ferretti Group, I decided to do something entrepreneurial. As a family, we have a family office with 7 families inside. We do many different things, many different investments, and every family can bring to the table something that they're ready to invest 100% of a capital. And then every family decides whether they want to go in. And one of the things that I really wanted to go follow was services in the yachting industry. If you check my strategy for Ferretti Group, ever since 2014, there's big things written on what I would like to do or what I wanted to do for the refit part and for the services part, even brokerage also, if in my case right now it's not my main focus and I'm not doing that. But for me, refits and services to the client, to try give that one-stop shop that I've been telling to many investors for that group, stays and remains a great part of a business. So I thought, you know what, this could be a lot of fun. I met through a headhunter that tried headhunting me for Filippo Calcaterra, my founder and now partner. And a lot of people at Ferretti Group told me, I asked them, who are the 2 or 3 companies that do surveys that you work best? And one of them was WOSA. So I said, oh, WOSA, someone tried headhunting me for that company. And so I got back in touch with Filippo, and I liked a lot what he was doing, what he had done. And I had worked with him many, many years before at Benetti. So I thought he comes from after sales, so he knows what hard work and spitting blood means. And we started talking, and I think we shared the idea of how to grow a business. And so that's where I decided to join him.
And when you say
he
join
decided to take me on.
And putting 2 things together that you said there, one was that you wanted to pursue a more entrepreneurial path, and the other was that you joined Filippo and his company WOSA. But it sounds like you didn't join just as an employee.
No, I bought 50% of a share of him, and he believes in his own project and now in our project so much, where most of the money was injected as a capital injection. Also, if a company was super liquid, so it doesn't need it. Didn't really need it. But the point was that we would like to grow in infrastructure and in size of places where to be able to perform refits. So that's where we became partners. Plus, on the other side, there was the survey business, which I like a lot because I think that that's a great business and a great service you can give to clients.
Yeah.
And that it also feeds clients into Refit, because once you've done the survey, especially if it's a second-hand boat or whatever, you get a list, and when you get the list, then shall I quote on it and help you see what it costs for your negotiation, but also once you buy it to help you make your own refit.
Yeah.
And
we're going to put a link to your website in the description. And when I looked at it, I saw it was very clear. Survey, refit are the two main activities. So firstly, let me ask you about the survey part, because I saw you have so many. So I was scrolling down the Our Team part.
Yep.
How many surveyors do they have?
it's 10 of us plus our partners. So 35% of the business of a survey, it's together with Brandon Rundquist. That is our chief surveyor, or anyway, the director of surveys. And so we have 11 in total, plus I don't do surveys. I try to help clients more on the technical, legal side of contracts and so on. So it's nearly 12 of us.
And is that mostly pre-purchase surveys that you do?
We have a mix of things. We have, let's say, 3 specialties. The first one is for sure pre-purchase, so second-hand yachts or condition surveys. If someone has a yacht and wants to either sell it or understand whether to sell it or to refit it. And then we have the part that is new build. So we follow the whole new build, whether it's a 40-footer all the way up to, the biggest we've done for new builds is about 75 meters, if I don't remember wrong. And then we have a third arm, which is basically consultancy for shipyards, where we help them improve their operations and quality. So having done a lot of surveys, and plus Brandon Rundquist has been also director of quality for Azimuth, we help the shipyards look into their processes and into their quality standards and the way they do things to try help them improve their operations and their end product.
It's interesting because having worked for many years as a broker, from time to time when a shipyard is building a yacht on spec, they'll say to the brokerage company, what do you think we should do better? Which is great that they ask that, because it shows a really good attitude. And I think a broker can certainly bring something to the table as to what makes the yacht commercial, but not necessarily on the technical part. So that's, I guess, what you're really focusing on.
Correct.
You look at their technical specifications and you dig into them. And
yeah, I think we do also a little bit more than that, because clearly it's very easy to specify the best boat on the planet.
Yeah.
But then that will come with a price tag. So I think that what I've noticed and what I liked in WOSA, that the approach was, what are you looking for? Set your expectations right, and then we are going to try get you the best product that money can buy. But for sure, you are going to have, in what we recommend, the least that you need to have a safe, good boat that you can use every day or for the usage that you're thinking about using. So that's the most important part, because I repeat, to say that you need to have quadruple systems and 27 oil filters and so on, anybody can do that. Instead, I think it's important to know that you're putting your money in the places where you actually need it, or depending on your budget, and that you put the client or his team in a position where they can make a choice, but it's an informed choice, and with pros and cons of the different decisions.
then with regard to surveying on pre-purchase surveys, I noticed that you also have your own software that you've developed. Can you tell me about that?
Correct. That's where we feed a lot of clients from the surveys into the refits, and where we help a lot of shipyards, because basically this is a software that Filippo developed over the years with his team, called Wiser, which is the WOSA yacht service and refits system. Basically, this system was born out of a necessity. This was 2013, and Filippo was doing a lot of work for Marine Max. All of the boats going to America under certain size or under about 30 meters are done by WOSA, gets surveyed by WOSA. But clearly to help the shipyards, and in this Filippo has my same background. We have worked all our lives for shipyards. He stopped many years ago, 16 years ago. I stopped only a few years ago. We understand the necessity of a shipyard. And so what he had was that it was 5 surveyors trying to go onto the boats. You know better than me, the ones going to America normally are at the end of August, beginning of September, so you're rushing to finish things and so on. So what he did was that he had 5 different people and himself going on board, and they would call him, okay, now we've finished this cabin on this hull, and now we've finished this other cabin on this other hull, now we're doing the engine. So you're jumping from one boat to the other. And he said we would meet each other in the lobby of a hotel after dinner with a glass of wine, and we would try and put together all of the different pictures with the comments. And so he called one of his friends that is a programmer, and they just went on programming and developing over the years this software, which is super easy, has to be super easy and usable, also offline, quick, so that surveyors, and also now we give it to shipyards and to captains, they'll always use it, and they find it's friendly. It has a lot of things to it, but not too many. And the result is that we go on board and we can do surveys much quicker, and especially we get reports. We tell the clients within 48 hours, it's always within the first 24, because apart from physical tests like oil and stuff that have to go to labs, all the rest goes into a program and outputs very quick.
But on that point about the speed with which you can turn the survey around, I was particularly interested to read that, because on a pre-purchase survey, as you know, under the MEBA contract, you have 7 days to accept or reject a vessel after survey. But it's not unusual for the survey report to be 2 or 3 weeks before you get it. I mean, sure, the surveyor will tell you the bullet points. So when I read that about how quickly you can turn the survey around, you can do that with pre-purchase surveys as well as new build surveys?
Absolutely. Pre-purchase, that's where we're strong, because we send a team of 3 or 4 people so that we know that, especially for certain checks, you have someone activating and someone checking, for example, the pump. And because all these people can work at the same time, and at the end you just press, and everything that is about cabins or interiors go into one part of a report. Everything that is and we can get this translated. Now, today it's still translated by human beings, so that slows down a little bit. But as we've seen, we are training an AI system with technical words and definitions and so on, which will allow us to do it even quicker, because we're not linked to people. All we have to do is have somebody that knows and speaks. So I don't want to give away your first job, is to check that it's been done properly. But you know how much quicker it can be. So 24 hours, we get it out. We say 48 just because, as my partner says, we are British. And every time I'm late, as I was late today 5 minutes, he greets me with a not very British.
Stefano and I have been brought together thanks to Keane Specialty Insurance, who are sponsoring this podcast. Now, I've been collaborating with Keane for a while now, and one of the things that impresses me the most is the personal interest they take in your yacht and how you use it. It doesn't have to be a big refit on a super yacht, but any modification that you make to your boat, it's good to communicate with your insurance company. You may have new engines, maybe new navigational equipment, or new longer lasting batteries. Keane will always be interested to hear about these things, and they'll let you know how it affects your insurance so that you have the peace of mind of being well covered. They like to say, if it floats, they will quote it. It's so easy to get a quote from them too. Just scan the QR code that's on screen now, or click the link in the description. Now, the refits, when I saw that you'd gone to WOSA, and at the time I knew very little on the topic, I thought, you have a refit yard, but you don't actually have a shipyard as such, is that right?
We have one, which is small. It's in the interior of Viareggio, so we tend to do boats that need quite a lot of work or tenders, from 7-8 meters, the tenders of mega yachts that we do, all the way up to 35 meters we can do inside that shed. We have some limitations due to the road from the sea to the inland. So that's the only premises that we own or rent long term. Now we are building a little shed in Via Copino, just in front of.
Oh yeah, in Via Regis.
Yeah, beautiful. So that will have boats of about 30 meters, but it's a lot closer, so you got it's easier. But the point is that yes, we use a lot of the facilities of others, which makes us very elastic on the sizes. But one of the things that I've joined Filippo for is to try secure some more spaces that are full-time hours or in concession close to the sea, so that we can, you have, like for production boats, you know that you have that kind of space and you have to fill it up, which gives us then a challenge, because then you have to find the right boats to fill them up. But on the other side, it also gives our clients a little bit more security on the fact that we'll have space. So in the next few months, you'll hear a lot of different places, and hopefully one day you're going to come to visit us.
I would love that.
A little video and podcast of how we've been growing.
And then I saw that you have representation or offices in Barcelona, England, Italy, Monaco.
Correct.
So I guess for refits, you're sending people also out all over the place.
Yeah, this we've always done, that we send out, because like we can do things in Italy. Bigger refits, we try to convince our clients to come close, because it's just more efficient and better, and we have all of the craftsmanship just on our doorstep. But we've done quite a few in Spain. In England, it's more a representation office and where the company was born. And in Monaco, it's for the surveys, but clearly here we have a lot of clients that stay here during the summer, so it's easy to come and service them and help them, and to have a hub here to then follow the boats that are in the south of France. So yeah.
And then as far as expansion goes, any intentions to go to the United States or expand geographically? What's the expansion looking like?
Well, I joined, and the first thing I said was, let's go to Dubai, let's do the United States and so on, because it's clearly markets where I've seen that there is space to grow, and that the clients, if you are performing a good job, they're willing to pay, and pay you more if you are giving, especially timely works done, and they have to be quality works, that always, right? So the States is a super interesting business. The biggest problem there is to find good labor, repetitive good labor. So right now we don't have any plans there. In the past, WOSA has done quite a few refits there. We can go and do boats over there, but clearly it's not so efficient right now without long-term agreements with a local yard. But it's something that I've been going to Fort Lauderdale over the last over the last year and a half, and I'm keeping contacts there, because once we have structured ourselves properly and found the right partner, we can really improve there. And I think Dubai, now there's tension in the area, but the yachting community has now grown a bit because of the Ukrainian conflict. So a lot of boats of people that cannot keep them in Europe have moved there, which then have been sold, so can be serviced also by us. Clearly we follow the rules.
Yeah.
But the point is that there's a lot of boats that now are staying there, big boats, we're talking over 50 meters, that don't have any place where to do, or don't have very good places where to get the service, or there's a lack of skilled labor to do that. So I think that's with the right partner that has the right facilities there, there's a possibility to grow nicely. But right now there's plenty of work here.
Well, yeah, because before we started recording, you told me the figures of revenue and how much that's grown. So my question to you now is, with that kind of growth, how are you going to keep the quality of the services that you're offering?
But that's why I think I had to pull my handbrake, as we say in Italy when you're driving, on the expansion abroad, because I understood what Filippo, my partner, was telling me, Filippo Calcaterra, that there's so much growth to be taken here, and we're such a small player still, that's spreading ourselves thin, unless you find really the right partner that simplifies a lot of the things that that you would have to run after. So and where you would have only to put the craftsmanship and the skills and the knowledge of the refit part, unless you find that it makes no sense, because as we grow here, we need to grow. Clearly, we don't have skilled workers that work for us. We use local companies. The beauty of Italy is that we have so many companies, Italy and close by, so south of France and some places in Croatia, depending for different things, for different works. But what you need to do is you need to build a relationship. You need to make sure that they always send you the skilled people, and that you get the people that you know perform and that also know how to behave and so on. So this takes time, and therefore, as we keep on growing quickly in Italy, then I think the foreign expansion will wait.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait.
Again, on the website, I saw as well, there's a section where you invite anybody who's knowledge about yachting, passionate about yachting, interested in joining you, to contact you. So what do you do then to vet and make sure that the people that you're getting are that kind of quality?
First of all, during the conversation, we don't have to have so what is the life-work balance? You were telling me at the beginning about my experience and how I grew and how this could be interesting for kids. I think the worst thing I'm finding, especially after COVID, is that in the interview, the first thing they ask, or one of the things they ask you is, what is the work-life balance? You know, if you just graduated or you just got your degree, I think if you find someone that is keen to give you work and to give you a little bit of leeway to do things, man, take that chance. That's the luck I had. The yachting industry was growing at the beginning of 2000 like crazy, and I had the chance. I got stuck in Sarnico in the technical department, and because I spoke English and the others didn't, I was talking to the president of Marine Exhaust, or, you know, and I was like there just out of university. I think that's the first thing we do is I want to meet people in person, and I think that's the best way to understand is what I call the skin feeling. So you get them to talk in Italian, in English, you try to get them out of their comfort zone. And what we like to have is people that are knowledgeable, so maybe with a degree, but not necessarily. But people that like to roll up their sleeves and even sometimes do things manually. So our project managers are not only technical people, they're also people that know how to take a screwdriver and a hammer if need be. Then I always say, guys, let's get the guys that actually know how to do it. But the point is that to do this job, you need to be curious. If you're not curious, whether it's refit or surveys, if you're not curious, it doesn't work. Then the two profiles are slightly different. But thanks to our program, we managed to have a lot of captains and so on. We prefer people that have been sailing, because with our program, we can guide them to what they need to check and so on. But on the other side, there's the experience at sea, for example. Where is the emergency pump? You know, it's only if you've used one in emergency that you'll know that maybe that location is not really perfect.
Sure. And I think as well, I mean, I have, as you know, I have 3 children who were all born in Italy. They've all grown up in Italy. And it's, as much as we both love the country dearly, it's not an easy country to find work in, which pays in a respectful way and gives respectful treatment as well. I'm trying to be diplomatic about the way I say that, but I've seen my kids suffer from that. And I think when there's a company like WOSA that's mature, looks after their people, and when you get an opportunity like that, give them commitment. You know, don't sort of worry. I mean, of course, we all want a nice life to work balance. Everybody wants that.
At certain points, you need to have it. You need to have it. I'm the first that checks and tries to find it. But what I'm saying is that especially when you're at the first, second experiences, if your main point is work-life balance, then I think that you are missing out, because the good people will then get you to have a work-life balance. But
that's right.
One of the things I enjoyed the most and that taught me the most was, okay, you know what? We've never had a Far East area manager for Riva. You're interested? Traveling, I didn't ask how many days I was going to stay out, and no one asked me, but I was staying 45 days in a row away from home.
Yeah.
It was also something that taught me and that made me open my mind, you know?
Yeah.
And luckily on the other side, I had someone that was paying for this and was giving me the trust that I wasn't just throwing away the money traveling, but I was actually finding people and doing the business that they had asked me. It's not that easy, eh? Normally, especially in a place like Italy, but also in other places, it's how many white hairs do you have?
Yeah.
And I used to tell a CEO I had many years ago that if white hairs was the count and the time that I would have then got his position, then probably at 60 I would have got it, because now I'm 48, I've got 7
No,
white
you're still
hairs.
looking pretty good.
The beard is a little bit white, but that cannot be, you know, this is the kind of people that you get to deal with often. And I think that that's where the work-life balance has to come second.
Yeah. I don't
Also
think
because you have all your life to have your work-life balance when you'll have kids and so on.
in any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a business relationship, a lot of the success of that relationship depends upon you being willing to give. And not, as you say, not the first question being, what am I going to get out of this?
Correct.
It's also got to be, what can I give? So that's a
But on
value.
the other side, you also, hopefully you find someone that is illuminated enough on the other side that will sort of take advantage of this and as payback, this will you have to give more, and then will not exhaust it. It's like getting a plant and taking all of its life out. No, it's okay, do it, but sometimes you need to water it to get it to relax and so on. So I think it's always two people in the game, right? It's yourself and the person. But this is also something I found at WOSA, where we worked very hard, and something I asked some people that didn't know that I was buying a share, what was the work-life balance inside the company. And they all told me the same thing, that it felt like a family where they would all pull their weight and hard at time, but then there were also times of relax together or not, depending whether you got to get along together or not. But it was like sort of a family kind of ambience, and like in a family, there are days where you go out partying or where you work all together to do something, if you're moving or whatever, but there's also the days where you relax and you have the right time to enjoy your life.
One thing before we wrap it up, Stefano, that I've got to compliment you on is, I think it was 2 years ago at Christmas, you guys did the best Christmas video
Last Christmas, and I like you touching on
ever
that.
seen. Tell me about that.
So that was an idea of Julian from the Yacht Videographer, but he does all of our photography and so on. And he told me and told Filippo, guys, there's a new technology coming out where you can do a video. Now, he made it sound too easy, so I was like, okay, so it's super easy, we do it. But the point was that his idea was, I would like to do something to try bring everybody from the shipping and yachting industry in. And he tried concentrating on Viareggio, and we believed in this because apart from the storyline that he presented, and I'm a bit of a softie, especially as I get older, I become more and more of a softie. And I started crying when I watched the trailer, not even...
Yeah.
But because it touched exactly on this
Yes.
kind of life, because yachting is not only a job where, yes, why I touched on the life, work-life balance, it's because actually yachting, it's a passion. As I told you at the beginning, it's a poison that you get into your veins and you cannot get out. So you often pull long hours and so on. Why? Because it's such a... Yes, there's the money at the end of the day, but the reality is that who works in yachting and is successful or does a good job, normally it's because they're super passionate, which doesn't mean that they like to go yachting. Most people I know that work really well on yachts go to the mountains for their holidays. But the point is that they love what they're doing. It's so the story itself was great. And plus, Julian said, if you help me find people that will pay for this, and the amount he was asking was super low, paid for the actual cost, not his time. He actually worked pro bono, but just for the machines running, because As he showed me then how many machines he had to run and so on, and how many hours. And that's where I understood it wasn't as easy as he was making it look. We're going to give in charity all that we make, right?
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
so in the end, unfortunately, we had a few companies that said yes, yes, and then everybody last minute pulled out, which was I found weird because, I mean, anyway, but the point is that we managed to give a little, but whatever we paid Julian, he put the same amount, and we decided to put the same amount in charity, which was good. At least we managed to make about 7,000 or 8,000 euros in charity.
Good.
But the crazy thing was that a lot of people thought that this effort cost us like 100,000 euros to make this video. Instead, it was a lot less. And this year he's doing release number 2.
Oh, good, good.
And clearly he's finding a lot of difficulties in get it done because everybody says, yeah, great idea, but no one wants to participate. And it cannot be a money thing because we're talking, I think the biggest thing is 3,000. 1,500. So I don't know what it is. Maybe you can tell me how we can get it out. But I think it's beautiful. It was a super nice story.
Well, I'm going to put a link in the description to that video because I thought it was absolutely revolutionary and it got everybody talking about your brand. Thanks. And also, of course, a link to your website. So anybody listening, anybody watching this video, for yacht surveys, for yacht refits, either pre-purchase, really recommend that people do contact you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time, Stefano.
It was super fun to come here. A bit hot, but super fun. And what of you guys? What of you? Thank you.
Thanks.